A FAM production for all things mattress. FAM.news.
Probably didn't know this. There's a dirty little secret inside the mattress industry, and it becomes exposed today, and we have help in doing that with Wade Wallace.
Welcome to the Dos Marcos Show with Mark Kinsley and Mark Quinn, where mattress and furniture leaders gather to grow, get the inside scoop, tell stories, and take tequila shots.
Uno, dos, tequila!
Welcome aboard. Here's your passport to a planet filled with the mattress industry's brightest minds and biggest ideas. Meet your guides.
I'm Mark Kinsley, President and CEO of Englander.
And I'm Mark Quinn, co-founder of Spink & Co. and VP of Sherwood Bedding.
Together, they are Dos Marcos.
The galaxy's greatest mattress podcast has liftoff in 3, 2, 1.
Hey there, Kinsley.
Mr. Quinn, hey, you know, anybody that's been in the mattress industry long enough knows things have changed, and there are dirty little secrets that have shaken out over the years. And we're going to be talking to Wade Wallace on the show today about that and much more around the world's first fiberglass and chemical-free FR cap. But we got to pump the brakes for a minute because we heard that there's a morning routine. There's something that Wade does in the morning that really gives you a glimpse into his soul. So first of all, Wade, welcome to the show. Wade Wallace, you are the Chief Operating Officer and President of Tietex. My first exposure to Tietex was with a guy with a really rich, I think it's a Boston accent, Jimmy Fleming.
Yeah, Boston, South Boston.
Really deep South Boston.
Very South Boston. Yeah, very South.
Wade, tell people about you and about your company. Give us your background, and then we're going to talk about your shirts, and it gives us a glimpse into your soul. Well, you know what? Let's start there. What do you do in the morning? There's something you really like to do in the morning.
Yeah, I got asked this at a party one time, and I enjoy ironing my shirt every morning. I'm a textile geek. I've been in textiles for my whole career, 20-something years, 25, 26 years, and I enjoy ironing my shirt every morning. You know, it's when you put heat and steam to a piece of textile fabric, magic happens. Wrinkles go away, and it stabilizes, and that's just a textile geek in me.
Hey, Wade, would you be interested in maybe moving in with me?
No.
You could. Okay, so that's a no. Can you tell us, is there a favorite textile you like to iron?
Oh, yeah, Pinpoint Oxford, for sure. You know, Pinpoint Oxford dress shirt. Poplin's too lightweight for me for a dress shirt, and a traditional Oxford's too coarse. The Pinpoint Oxford is...
Okay, so for people who don't understand what is so magical about Pinpoint Oxford, describe the characteristics there, and then what brings a big ironing smile to your face whenever you put heat to it.
It's just a personal preference for me, really. I like that particular weight, but you know, these days they treat these dress shirts with a non-wrinkling, some kind of non-wrinkling finish, which is really nice. I still like to touch them up. They come out of the dryer. If you take them out hot, they come out looking pretty good, but usually they sit in a chair before they get hung up at my house and get wadded up, so they need a little touch-up.
Wade, I'm curious. When you said at this party that was something about you that people didn't know, what was the reaction of the crowd?
I got some marriage proposals from women there.
That's what I asked you to move in, Wade. I thought I made myself clear.
You're the first proposal from a guy, so.
You know, my wife's grandmother, she's an amazing ironer. And she used to come over as part of her routine when we lived in the same town, and she would iron my clothes. My buddies at work would always give me a hard time. They're like, man, looking crisp again. Did Grandma, did you waive her Social Security check in front of her until she finished ironing up your shirt? I'm like, no, she likes it. She really enjoys it. She does a great job. And, of course, I love Grandma. But there are other great ironers out there. So there's a little niche community here. You guys probably need to get together and have a conference.
There you go.
Maybe. I'm not ironing much these days with COVID. Definitely, my wardrobe has gotten much more casual.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, would you also mention you went to Auburn University, and you actually are such a textile geek. You studied textiles in Auburn, didn't you?
I did. When I was getting ready to decide on a major, I was leaning toward industrial engineering, and textiles is just a specific form of industry. And I was recruited pretty heavily by the textile program there, and just found it very interesting. Sounded like a good idea. I didn't know any better, but I've enjoyed it. I like making fabrics, building fabrics, the way fabrics come together, and fabric construction. It's been a tough industry at this era with so much going over to Asia. But there's some great areas of the textile industry still in the United States they're quite robust and quite strong. Technical textiles and non-wovens, the area that I'm in, that Tietex is in, is very robust.
Well, and Tietex is the world's largest global producer of a diverse range of products, but stitch bonded and non-woven fabrics, biggest in the world, one of the largest global suppliers.
Yeah, we know of none other that is of our size and magnitude. The founder of our company, he really pioneered the technology. He didn't invent it, but he had the fortitude to take this new fledgling technology in the '60s and make a bona fide, significant commercial business out of it. So it's always been our thing. We've led the way and continue to do so.
Well, and you are leading the way in many different areas, and this is one of the things that came on our radar. And really, it was, we laugh about Jimmy's very South Boston accent, but Jimmy called me up and he had me try something a few years ago, and I couldn't believe the difference in feel. And it was SmartCap. And I'm like, Jimmy, I'm not thinking about innovations in FR protection. I'm not thinking about innovations in FR socks or FR caps, as it is in this case. But I laid down on that mattress, and he said, this is a side-by-side built exactly the same foam density. And that alone, for me, as somebody who was thinking about the feels, was demonstrable and remarkable. And I couldn't believe how much more down into the material you could get and how much that really thin layer had an impact on the feel. But of course, with SmartCap, it goes way beyond that. But take us a little bit back in time and help us understand the origin story. What's the genesis of SmartCap?
Sure, you set it up for me really well. The story really begins with comfort. I'll back up a little bit, explain what a stitch bond is. A stitch bond is a hybrid of a non-woven textile and a traditional textile. You think about all the textiles that go into a mattress. You've got knits that maybe don't go into the cover, or wovens that go into the cover. Those traditional decorative materials that are made of interlacing yarns. And then you've got non-wovens. You think about the FR batting or high loft that's often behind the tick, spun bonds, dust covers, quilt backings, things like that. Those are the non-woven end. Stitch bond it's a hybrid technology. We take non-woven, we start with non-woven, and we're able to build yarn into it or insert yarn into it so that you can maximize the best of both. And in the mattress industry, a lot of your fire retardant materials really take away from the comfort of the mattress. These mattresses nowadays, you get hundreds of dollars in foam built up in that top layer, and then you throw an FR barrier over the foam in between it and the tick, and then many times it creates a hammocking feel or takes away from the feel. Even some of the knitted FR socks, they don't have that true stretch and recovery in all directions like our FR stretch does. So we saw that as a need, and we leveraged this hybrid technology of ours and this ability to put yarn into a non-woven, and we put the FR material together with spandex, and we created a really stretchy, wonderful, omnidirectional stretch FR barrier. And that's what you felt the difference in at that ISPA, I believe it was 2018. We first branded the fabric that goes into SmartCap as FR Stretch, and launched it there, and it was a great success. Like you saw, you could really feel the difference. And then the next piece of the journey became, okay, how do we get this into a mattress? And that's where we came up with SmartCap.
Wait, I would have to think just having spandex in that material and the ability for that fabric to stretch has to make that so much easier to work with than some of the other things in the market. Am I accurate in saying that?
Yeah. So normally stretch products are not that easy to work with because when you go to pull them onto something, they move in different directions. Our FR stretch fabric that goes into SmartCap has some proprietary stable selvage technology, meaning we've stabilized the edges so that you can handle it really easily. But yeah, once it's cut into a SmartCap, it becomes very, very workable. And I'm sure in some point in this conversation we'll talk about the ease of installation with SmartCap.
Yeah, I think Quinn and I are going to have competition. Like, he's sock guy, I'm cap installation guy, and we're going to have a race, and we're going to see who wins. And wait, am I cap guy? Did I say that right? Yeah, I want to be cap guy.
No, how did I get to be sock guy? I want to be the winner. I'm not going to win if I'm the sock guy. I'll win if I'm the cap guy.
Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Well, you know what? Pause point, though. What is the difference to anybody that doesn't know between a cap and a sock? What's significant about that?
One's on your head and one's on your foot.
A sock is tubular. Putting a sock on your foot. Well, we have fire retardant socks that go on a mattress core. The industry does. And it's a circular knitted material. It's tubular. It's sewn at one end. It's like a big giant sock. And it's FR material, and it's a fire barrier system that goes on the core. But you could think about trying to put, try to put a sock on a big foam block of material. It can be quite cumbersome. But it's a very widely used technology. The materials, they have a lot of fiberglass and a lot of chemicals in them. A cap it can be of the same material, but as opposed to trying to put it all the way around a block of foam, you're snapping it on like a fitted sheet. Or think about one of these mattress protectors that you buy to go on your new mattress. It has a top, and then the sides are stretchy material that you put on like a fitted sheet. So the cap is more of the fitted sheet type installation, whereas the sock is stretching it over a core.
Well, and I think we stay with that for a minute, because if you imagine mattress production, what kind of time are we talking about saving if you have a sock which has to be fully enveloped and put on from the end versus a cap? I mean, have you looked at how much time it's going to save a line?
We put quite a lot of study into that. Most sock installation consists of an offline process. The core has to go away from the turntable or the main assembly line to get this sock put on it. There are various devices and jigs that have been made that you can buy that you can mount the sock over and try to help with putting the foam into the sock. It usually takes a couple people, though, one working one side, one working the other. It can take up to 1.5, 2 minutes for two people to put a sock on. And with our SmartCap, one individual, we got a really nifty video out there on our website, which I can share with interested parties later, where we've got one individual installing a SmartCap in about 30 seconds using your standard turntable, where you kit everything else up, where you glue up your layers of foam. You can put the SmartCap on right there in one step without having to move the mattress offline. And you can do it with one person in 30 seconds versus two people in 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes.
You know what I like about that too, Wade, is that you can do it right in the area where you're already building these beds, and there's no special equipment required at all. You're just doing it straight from the tables that exist in the factories today.
Right, exactly.
So just to paint a picture for people who may not, like if you're on the retail side of things, and of course, if you're on the manufacturing side of things, not everybody's out on the floor always, but you're talking station to station to station. And in this instance, it's boom, right in the same spot. You don't have to create a new piece of your line where people are putting the smart cap on. It can just kind of be done in place.
Yeah, correct. And you don't disrupt the flow. It falls in line with the same manufacturing flow. And people that are, manufacture product for a living, you're always trying to lean up your organization. You're trying to get material to flow better. Last thing you want to do is add an offline process, or one of the things you certainly want to do if you have an offline process is eliminate steps in the process.
So
we feel like it allows you to do that.
I'm interested because over the years, mattress construction has changed, and Tietex has been right there in lockstep with manufacturers, innovating, like you said, on the different parts and pieces and layers of a mattress where you can serve manufacturers, you can help them out. But mattress construction as a whole has changed. I mean, you have hybrids, you have higher fuel load foams, you have all these changes I think people don't really think about. What have you witnessed in the industry as part of those changes, and how has that informed or influenced what Tietex does?
There are a lot of complex constructions out there, and one FR solution doesn't always work for everything. There are very light-duty socks and other FR materials that work just fine for a simple 8-inch core solid foam mattress. But there are a lot more complicated constructions out there. You've got a lot of different foam systems. You've got some of these gel foams and things like that, certainly latex, that are much more flammable, have very high fuel loads. You have hybrids, which create a whole nother complexity where you've got a lot of pocket coil systems that are encased in polypropylene spun bond, which is highly flammable, along with these more flammable foams. And then, you've got this trend, even with pocketed coils, away from foam encased. There's a lot of, interesting pocket coil technologies out there with stronger edge support. And all of these create challenges when you're trying to get the mattress to pass an FR test. And what we're finding is some of these high-end mattresses, they struggle to get a sock, and oftentimes these socks are thin Gossamer Veil-like materials to give enough insulation, enough protection. And that's another place that SmartCap comes in, that it really has a high FR performance. It creates a lot of insulating value to block the flame from getting in there and igniting some of those materials in these more complex mattress constructions.
And on top of that, you said it doesn't have fiberglass in it. And the one thing that I've noticed, and there's some videos floating around, is a lot of, especially some of the hybrid constructions, they have zipper covers on them. And zipper covers, I think consumers look at that and they think, oh, I'm supposed to be able to take this off and wash it, which might not necessarily be the case. It just is a way for a mattress to be constructed, and you can outsource your zipper cover production, things like that. And so if you take that zipper cover off and you have an FR sock with some fiberglass in it, that's probably not the best thing.
Oh, for sure. That's what we call the dirty little secret. It's really a difficult situation out there. I think that creates a lot of exposure for those of us in the mattress industry. The sock, the primary technology is a fiberglass core yarn, and there's different variations of how they get the fiberglass into the mattress and different levels of durability. But ultimately, fiberglass, it's a very good fire retardant material, but as you can imagine, it's very, very brittle. And so you put fiberglass on a mattress, you put it on a rollator tester for an extended amount of period, and then take that cover off, you're definitely going to see some deterioration just because of its brittleness. And when it breaks, that irritating fiberglass, itchy fiber, it can work its way through the cover, even in many cases. But the biggest exposure, like you said, Mark, is many of these foam mattresses, hybrid mattresses, they're constructed with the cover is zippered on as a manufacturing technique. It's not that it's made so that you can zipper it off and wash it, and it'll often say, do not remove, do not wash. The zipper is there just for ease of manufacturing, but the consumer doesn't think like that. They see this mattress, they see a zipper, the mattress gets soiled and from kids playing on it or whatever, and they just think, well, I'll take it off and wash it, and then you get into trouble. Then you've got a sock that's got a high amount of fiberglass in it. It's exposed. It's brittle. It could be breaking down and deteriorating already. If it gets a small hole in it, you think about a knit sock or a stocking hosiery. You get a nick and you get a run and it opens up on you. Well, that's the same kind of fabric structure that we're dealing with these socks. And if it breaches, it's going to run and open up, and then you're going to get fiberglass is going to start breaking and getting into getting around the home. And yes, there are some. You can Google fiberglass mattress, and you can hit on innumerable local news stations throughout the country who have picked up on this story where a consumer has had this problem and had fiberglass contamination throughout their home, and been quite very, very discomforting and problematic for them to resolve.
You know, one of the things that we saw when we looked at that video, Wade, that really surprised me is how big of a problem that becomes so fast, right? So if you get that hole and there's that proliferation of fiberglass outside of that contained area, it can get all over your room. It can get all over everything. I mean, it contaminates everything.
Yeah, it's once it's breached, there's no stopping it. It's like a run in pantyhose. Once you get a little nick, it just goes, and the more you agitate it, the more it opens up. And with fiberglass in there, the more you open it up, the more fiberglass is going to release and get on your clothes, your skin, become an irritant, and create a pretty nasty situation very quick. So when we felt like that when we developed Smart Cap, that was one of the leading improvements in the industry, is the fact that we can put a product out there that is fiberglass free that does such a great job.
So let's talk about the chemicals also, Wade, because chemicals, fiberglass, I mean, if you think about a mattress and the fuel load, that's tough. I mean, there's so much polyurethane foam, there's so much that can catch on fire. What is it about Smart Cap that makes it so effective when it comes to that part of the benefit? And
I want to know, what is antimony?
Yeah, let's talk about antimony and halogens. Right.
I think antimony is what would happen if Quinn did move in with you, and it would be not matrimony, it'd be antimony, right?
Yeah.
So that means he's going to pay me when he moves out.
That's
By the way,
alimony.
Wade, I did not offer to marry you. I wanted you to move in and iron my shirts. Okay, my wife would have a major problem if I was like proposing to you on this show. But anyway, let's go with antimony. I like your direction, Kinsley.
Well, I'm gonna back up a little bit. So fire retardant chemicals in home furnishings is not a new topic at all. I remember back, 10, 15 years ago, some of the first press there was a big article in the Chicago Tribune about all these dangerous chemicals in home furnishings. And so there's a couple of categories that have been used over the decades for fire retardancy in home furnishings that are pretty bad actors, and when you hear the word antimony, it's actually referring to antimony trioxide. And again, I am not a chemist, but it's a chemical. It can be a chemical used, treated on there, or there can be materials that have it on there. And a lot of these fire retardant socks have traditionally used a fiber called modacrylic, which has antimony trioxide component to it. And so that's where the antimony has come up. The other bad actor in the world of FR chemicals are a family of chemicals called halogens, chlorine and bromine. Some of these things that you hear of chlorine, something you don't want inside your body. And all these antimonies and halogens, they're carcinogens, so they're known to cause long-term health defects and problems. And these materials are widely used in fire retardants for home furnishings. Except in Smart Cap, we have no FR chemicals of these nature in our product at all. But beyond just it being a bad thing to have near your body, state and local regulatory bodies have really gotten onto this, and there's a lot of regulation in place, in discussion in a number of states to outlaw these one or more of these various FR chemicals. Massachusetts just passed some pretty aggressive legislation there that has a lot of conversation going in the industry. And we've dodged a bullet in many other states with this. I don't want to say dodged a bullet, but many other states have come close, like California. They hadn't made it through, but it's just a matter of time before almost every state is going to have some pretty significant restrictions around these materials. It's already happening. So we want to be ahead of it.
But wait, if you're not using the chemicals and the fiberglass that other guys are, what is it? What's the trick to Smart Cap and how it's still able to be the fire barrier that you need it to be?
Yeah, we use an inherent fiber, meaning a fiber that is inherently FR without any chemical treatment. And it's not rocket science or really even a major trade secret. It's a technology, for the most part, that's widely used already. Most of the FR batting or high loft is made from this same fiber. And it's a fiber, it's a FR rayon is what we call it. It's rayon with silica in it. So you've got rayon, which is made from wood pulp, and you got silica, which is derived from sand. So you've got wood and sand. That's basically it. And it's a known technology. It's a proven technology. And we just put it into a form that is very, very easy to use. And we've been able to put the stretch in there, which is something that people have not been able to do up until now.
I just love recapping and thinking back on some of the things you mentioned, Wade. We're talking Wade Wallace, President and CEO of Tietex, talking all things Smart Cap and some of the insides of the mattress that it's out of our field of view a lot of times, but that's part of the show. I feel like we need to drag some of those things to the surface, whether it's a dirty little secret or an opportunity for improvement. And as I recap, I'm thinking you mentioned sand and wood and yarn and non-woven and spandex. And anybody who's been to a knitting factory, it's amazing. It's really amazing whenever you go into a factory that puts these materials together into something that's purpose-built for the mattress industry or for whatever application it is. And so for you all at Tietex to magically sprinkle those things together and into something that actually works, I think is really cool for us to like pause on as an industry and think about all the different groups like Tietex who are doing things that contribute to the health of the mattress, to the workability and durability of a mattress. But also, like you said, I think we need to just look at where the world is going and zoom out every once in a while and realize we do need to stay ahead of these things, because legislation that passes from one state is very likely to pass in another state. And as those things pick up momentum, a lot of times it becomes a federal regulation. So it's almost like one of those deals where we should get out ahead of it now with these different solutions. And this is kind of one area we're paying attention to.
Yeah. I think most of the industry has a good conscience when it comes to this sort of thing. No one intentionally is trying to put fiberglass as an irritant into someone. At the time when FR legislation came out and bedding evolved the way it did, is this sock became a really good solution for a tough problem. How to fire protect this big foam block. But as time's progressed, we've learned it's not the best solution. It has some issues, and there's better solutions out there. We feel like Smart Cap being the premier one of those.
Well, it's definitely a product that, it just hit me. It just hit me. Imagine an ironing board cover, and it's very similar to Smart Cap. Maybe that is why there's just that moment of zen-like tranquility when you're ironing that pinpoint Oxford. Because if you imagine, it's not a sock, it's an ironing board cap, just like Smart Cap.
Well, I wouldn't have to worry about setting it on fire.
Even
No,
better. Now you have
definitely
heat that's
not.
applied to. Oh, this could not be more perfect. I love it.
Hey, wait, so tell us a little bit. So you mentioned some videos out there. So is there much consumer awareness around this kind of stuff in terms of the chemicals and the fiberglass? Like, where's that at?
It's growing for sure. It has not reached a critical mass or a tipping point, in my opinion, but that's just a matter of time. You see more and more of these local news articles. You see more and more legislation, which picks up media coverage in the papers. There's certainly, I think there's a lot more consumer awareness around chemicals for sure than fiberglass. But like I said, the fiberglass thing certainly hadn't reached a tipping point yet, but it's just a matter of time.
And when you start hearing things like antimony and halogens, people are starting, I really see, to understand you're on your mattress, hopefully for a solid 8 hours a night. You know, a third of your life is spent on your mattress. And, you know, you think about the non-GMO and the hormone-free and getting gluten out of your diet or whatever it is you're putting into your body. But what about what you're putting next to your body for that period of time? I mean, it's just, I think people are starting to understand, number one, the value of sleep. And then they're starting to quickly connect the dots between, the value of sleep is firmly connected to the mattress, and what I'm putting up against my skin or even close to my body for that period of time matters.
For sure. Yeah.
Wait, do you think there's a trend towards natural and chemical-free? Are you seeing that more and more in the mattress industry or in other textile? I mean, you guys do a lot of business in with shoes and automotive, and you're in different verticals. So do you see more awareness and sensitivity to that in the other categories?
We do. I quite frankly, I don't think the mattress is the leader in that. I see it. We see it more in other consumer products. We're very involved in the athletic footwear market out of our Thailand manufacturing operation, and Nike is well known for having a heavy consumer conscience. Sustainability, not just natural and organic, but I think the request we get more often, or the inquiry we get more often from some of these other technical markets like footwear or wipes is some sort of sustainability story. Recycled materials, recyclable material. They want to understand the supply chain that this came from, and that's another I think a positive towards SmartCap and the type of FR technology we use instead of chemicals or fiberglass. It's derived from FR rayon, and rayon is derived from wood pulp, which is completely renewable. A lot of these large mills in throughout Asia, they have their own sustainable farming operations to grow, in some cases, bamboo or eucalyptus. Highly sustainable, highly regenerative type farming done in a very controlled manner, instead of a fossil fuel out of the earth.
And I see a lot of mattress brands, especially that are skewing toward the natural side, doing a very good job of telling the story all the way up the supply chain, and just some of the stuff you mentioned, Wade, getting into what are the sustainable farming practices of the suppliers that feed these materials into our industry. And so as more and more people tell that story in the industry, you're going to see that become more of a requirement for other brands. So you're going to see momentum around those topics, which is going to mean you're going to have to be able to back it up with the products that you carry.
I don't think anyone can argue that the consumer doesn't every day become more and more interested about the sustainability story of the products that they buy. It grows and grows and grows. It's going to continue to do so.
Well,
sorry, Kenzie.
No, it's all you, man. I totally stepped on Mark Quinn, and the last time that happened, people don't even want to know. That's for another episode.
No, it's a whole Hulk thing. I mean, but I've gotten over that. I've completely solved my problem. So, Wade, for you, sir, purpose. right? So when you guys came across this technology and you saw what you could do with it, I'm sure there was a moment when you and your team kind of sat there in your conference room and said, hey, this is something we got to do. And you knew it was going to cost you some money to do the R&D behind that and push it into market. What was the purpose? What was the thought? What was the driver to get this into the market for you and your team?
A couple things. We saw a need. Like I said, it started with comfort. We saw a need for fire retardant materials that had better stretch and recovery, omnidirectional stretch and recovery, that better comfort, that enhanced the feel of these expensive foams and didn't detract from them. And that's what started it. And that was a different area for us. Our fire retardant materials have historically gone on the underside of the mattress. And so when you start moving to the sleep surface, you began to learn more and more and more. And that's when we began to become interested and attuned to the problem or the exposure of fiberglass and some of these FR chemicals, because they're there on the sleep surface and not on the bottom. So it just morphed with any kind of successful product and great product development process. You guys know it's like a scavenger hunt. You find one clue and it leads you down this road, and you find another clue, and you just collect treasure along the way.
Well, it looks like you guys landed on the X on the map in terms of finding that gold, because this is such a good intersection of solves a problem, has a really good purpose behind it in terms of both what it does from kind of a clean, healthy standpoint and a comfort standpoint. Comfort, of course, leads to better health for people. So I really do think that you, along that scavenger hunt and that treasure hunt, you guys really did find that treasure chest, and hopefully, it's something that people will start paying attention to, because it's crazy whenever you build up a mattress. You could take a sheet of butcher paper and put it right in the middle of a stack of foam and springs and everything in between, ticking and poly foam, and all of a sudden you put that little piece of butcher paper in there and it changes the feel. And whenever I saw that, whenever Jimmy showed it to me at ISPA, I was like, Jimmy, this is the same thing. It was a dramatic difference, that alone. But then you stack up the other bennies of SmartCap, and I think you guys get yourself a winner.
Well, thank you. We're very excited about it. Very proud to be able to offer this to the market. It's something that's needed and wanted and desired, and you can tell from the success that it's
What can people do to get more connected to you, to SmartCap, to learn more about it? What would be their a next step? How can we learn more?
Yeah, two things. You can email me direct, Wallace at Tietex.com. That's WWALLACE at TIETEX.com. Or you can go to our website, which is a little easier, Tietex.com, TIETEX. And there's an info page, and just put your name in there, and it goes out into the magical world of the internet and ultimately lands in the hands of our salespeople. We'd be glad to send you some great videos, demonstration videos. In the world of COVID right now, we've learned to make videos to do our product demos. And we can just fill you up with great information, get you some samples, and talk you through how this product can improve the comfort of your mattress and give you a better FR, safer, better FR solution for your customer.
Well, and I really encourage people to check out those videos because there's a side-by-side race, which is one of my favorites. It's the FR sock versus SmartCap, and two teams are racing. It's like me, I was the SmartCap guy, and Quinn was the sock guy, and I was just an absolute NASCAR.
See what he does to me with.
But there are some other videos too that really, you guys did a really good job of explaining this to people and showing the benefits and building value in what you do. And I'll tell you this from a personal standpoint, I have gotten to know some folks from the Tietex team over the years, and you're just great people. I love being around your team, and you have a heart for the industry, and you just care about people, and it shows. And if you're not careful when you hang out with Jimmy Fleming, he might just, at the end of the golf tournament, buy everybody on the team clothes and other stuff that you tell him to stop doing. So you may want to check his expense account, Wade.
I do. I do. But no, thank you for the compliments for the team. We really do have a great team here and a great culture, and it stems from the top down. The ownership, our chairman and CEO Martin Wildman, from him all the way through to every employee. It starts there, and that culture permeates throughout.
You know something, Wade? I think it's important to mention this on your website. And Kinsley and I are very critical of this with companies. And it's one thing to say things; it's another thing to do them. And on your website, you talk about a spirit of relentless innovation. And Martin Wildman talks about that, and he talks about his dad Arno, who kind of helped bring the company along. And so I love reading that, but more importantly, I love seeing it in action, and that is clearly what's happening here. So thanks for being on the show. Thanks for taking time to share that story. And next time I'm in town, I'm going to be sure and bring my stuff and drop it off at your house for a good quick ironing.
He didn't say it brought him joy to iron other people's clothes.
I misunderstood.
But I do think that every time anyone listening to the show from now on irons a shirt or irons anything, they're going to think of Smart Cap, and I think that's pretty cool.
Well, thank you so much for having me. This has been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed
awesome.
it.
Thanks, Wade.